Welcome to Hardscape Nation Follow Friday, where we take a look at the best social media from around the entire hardscape and landscape industries. Now, we will be answering one question every week on the show, so make sure to send us a direct message on one of our social accounts with something that's on your mind. This week's question comes from Bruce, who asks, I get most of my business through word of mouth, so why do I need to put so much work into social media? That's a great question, Bruce, and I'm glad word of mouth has worked so well for you. And it has for a lot of contractors. But the reason you need to work on your social media game is because social is basically word of mouth using technology. But it's like word of mouth on steroids because of its incredible reach and power. A recent survey from Forbes said that 81% of consumers' purchasing decisions are influenced by their friends' social media posts. So if you're using social media, tag your customers when you post that beautiful image of their patio that you completed last year. You stand to get far more exposure than if you just waited for them to tell their friends. Adding social media to your marketing efforts doesn't mean you have to stop what's working now. It just means you're adding to your possibility of success. Thanks for the question, Bruce. And now, let's see who caught our eye on social media this week. Welcome to episode 6. First up today is Lighthouse Landscape Construction out of London, Ontario. Now, if you've watched any of our previous episodes, you already know that I love video on social. There's just not enough people doing it and doing it well. And I love when companies take us behind the scenes, before all of those beautiful finished project photos. And Lighthouse Landscape has done both this week when they posted this video of their bobcat getting a nice little workout. Now, if you have a spouse who loves HGTV shows like Fixer Upper and Masters of Flip, one of the segments that they always include is Demo Day. And there's a good reason behind it. People love to see stuff get tore down and torn apart. If you need another example, check out Contractors of Insta and see how many views that posts featuring excavators and backhoes digging stuff up and tearing stuff down get on Instagram. I will make one suggestion for those who will go out and make these kind of videos though. Make sure everything you're doing is up to code. You don't need some inspector getting his hands on video proof of you doing something wrong. Other than that, have fun with your social media. It'll get you more eyeballs, and that's where social media really shines. Love what you're doing, Lighthouse Landscape? Please give them a follow on all their social profiles today. Next up is Valley Lawn and Landscape from Merrimack, Massachusetts. Now, there's a lot to like about these guys and their social media messaging. First, they like mixing in a little video, which you already know I strongly encourage, and they use it to highlight some really interesting topics like this one where they're looking at buying a brand new skid steer. Next, they developed a unique brand image and logo with the tagline, Massachusetts' Most Wicked Landscapers, which I think is very cool. And it doesn't hurt that they give some love to one of my favorites in the marketing world, Gary Vee, with this spot-on message about not worrying about what their friends or competition have. These guys are hitting all the right buttons in my opinion, and to top it off, they've started a brand new podcast called the Get Growing Podcast that brings you insight from their guests and the straight goods on growing your business. Great social media and great marketing for that matter is not about doing one thing perfect. It's about being able to do a lot of things really well and more importantly, being consistent with it. Great job, Valley Lawn and Landscape. Follow them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And make sure to subscribe to the Get Growing Podcast on SoundCloud as well. Episode 1 is available today. And lastly, we check in on Fortunato's Landscaping from Pickering, Ontario. Now, Fortunato's did something this week that I really admire. It's tough to get people to stop scrolling through their social media timelines and feeds, and it's even more difficult to get them to check out an image of something rather plain, like your new company pens. But Fortunato's did that just this week by posting a very creative image of their new pen being held up by a Lego construction worker on the dash of a truck. Simple, yet awesome. Now, their most recent post shows 4 adorable little children, and all of them look to be under the age of 6. So, first I assume the Lego action figure probably belongs to one of the little ones. And 2, Fortunato seems to be growing his own crew one child at a time. Awesome work. But what I want you to take away from this very creative post is that you can take an average part of your business and find a way to dress it up, use some interesting props, and make it fun. Try it this coming week with your social accounts and get people to stop scrolling and check you out. Love the work, Fortunatos. Please follow them on Instagram today. Thanks for checking out this week's Hardscape Nation Follow Friday. Join us next week for some more great content and social media from around the hardscape and landscape industry. Now, if you see something that you thought we should have shared this week, leave a comment or send us a private message. We want to know what we're missing. And don't forget to keep sending us questions. We're going to tackle one every show, and it could be yours next week. Thanks again for joining us. Stay safe. Be social, Hardscape Nation.